little bit, before we get into the questions about your candidacy, right, what you're actually trying to do here in Butte County, let's talk about you specifically, your background. You said you're a Chico native. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm a Chico native. I went to the local grammar school right here, Shasta, and went to Bidwell Junior High and Pleasant Valley High School, and got my Bachelor's of Science degree, biology, in Humboldt State. I guess it's called Cal Poly Humboldt now. Then I went and worked for the tribes of the U.S. around the country, providing small government training and government training to a myriad of things, from wastewater to how to write a grant to how to develop WIC programs, a wide breadth of things. Then I created my own company, Mighty Wind Environmental, before the movie. And went around and trained small governments, communities, fire departments, police. So I have a lot of government experience, and I also have a lot of industry experience. When I came back here 4 years ago, I was disappointed that a lot of things had changed. Quality of life had kind of gone down. When I was a kid, I would ride my bike out to Upper Park and enjoy myself up there. And my wife, the same thing. She was a Chico native also. And we noticed that there's campers everywhere. And there's a lot of mental health issues. And we're not solving the problems of the community. We're dealing with the symptoms, but never the problem. You know, the problem is we have a mental health issue, and we need to deal with the mental health. I feel for the people in our community. I think that always politicizing an issue every single time means that we strangle the issue and we don't get anywhere. You know, it's one side against the other. I'm not partisan. I'm a person that works with large groups of people and individuals, and I've been doing that my whole career. And I would like to do more of that for this community. When I watch the board squabble back and forth, say that isn't true and that kind of thing, that isn't how you work with each other. You know, you try to find common threads, common ideas, common goals, and we're not doing that in this community. So that's why I want to become the next board member of District 2.
Absolutely. So if you wouldn't mind me asking then, specifically your job, what do you do in that job?
Well, as a board member...
Not the board member, your current job that you have right now, what do you do in that?
Environmental health and safety. So I provide, I work on the grants, the environmental programs of the facility that I'm working at, making sure that their water, air quality, water quality, sustainability, all that's going on. I'm also making sure that we're complying with all the OSHA regulations, making sure that the health of the worker is paramount and I protect the workers. That's what I do.
And how do you think that would translate? Because I know a lot of the area that you would potentially be covering in District 2 is a lot of agricultural area, right? How does what you do now play into you being able to represent those people?
Well, I grew up on an almond farm, and I was out there harvesting and changing pipes and doing all the things, and I understand farming. I also was someone who went out and helped in farm safety programs. I developed grants, wrote grant proposals, and helped farmers in the Southwest. So I do know the problems of farms. So that is something that I'm adept at.
Is there anything in particular you wanted to address when it comes to the concerns of the farmers?
Well, water would be the big one. You know, I know that there's a water insecurity, and we need better ways of capturing water, rapid infiltration basins, maybe direct pumping when we have excess. We can't be in a constant state of crisis, and we can't wait for the state to step in. And that's a concern, I think, of a lot of farmers, is that we keep going down this road, and sooner or later, the state will step in.
So does the drought play into you actually being able to do any of those things?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay, very interesting. And then you said specifically, you were touching upon the homelessness, obviously. You're talking specifically the mental health crises, the substance abuse crises that we have in the area right now. If you wouldn't mind me actually asking, with the city right now, what, Butte County supervisors and the city have joined together for the pallet shelter that just opened, right? What's your opinion on that?
Well, it's a good start. It's not enough. It is a transitional housing is what it is. But we really need a lot more. If there's 2,000 people in this area that are homeless, and a lot of them it was no fault of their own. We had crises, we had environmental disasters, but some of them are vagrants. Some of them are mentally ill, and some of them are drug addicts. We need to treat it at that point. We need to treat it as, if you are mentally ill, we need to take care of you. If you're a drug addict, you're also mentally ill. We need to take care of you. If you need to be housed, that should be what we are doing.
So then how do you take care of those substance abuse, those behavioral health issues?
Developing a behavioral health facility in an unincorporated area in between Chico and Oroville. I would think that would be the best way.
You're talking a location where they would stay at, or where they would go specifically for treatment?
Both. We need a place where they could stay and be housed. It's wrong to leave them out on the streets. It's wrong to let them succumb to their disease where they die out there. A lot of people I went to high school with ended up dying of heat, dying of freezing, of hypothermia. I don't want to see that of anybody else. I've also had family members that have died of drug addiction and died on the streets, and I don't want to see that either.
So this idea that you're proposing, do you have any more backbone to it, or is it kind of just an idea you have at this moment?
It's an idea, and I think that these ideas across all the counties of California have those same circumstances. And they all will look at the governor and say, hey, is there money in this? Can we get some money to develop this facility? And I think it's cheaper to develop the facility than to do what we're doing currently.
Okay, and if you wouldn't mind me asking too, are those kind of your two main issues when it comes to the area you're potentially representing, is the homeless crisis and farmers?
I would say the homeless crisis and getting this community in this county to be more first world. Right now we do not have a 4-line highway connecting us to any other city. We don't have commuter train service. We don't have a regular airport that we could use for airlines. A city like Redding has all those things. It would be great if Chico could have some of those things. As a remote worker myself, traveling 75% of the time, it's hard to go in and out of Chico. You have a 2-hour drive just to get to an airport.
Crazy. And we've done stories about the lack of flights actually coming back in. What the airport tells us is flights don't want to come here. There's nothing attracting them here, right? What would you do to attract flights here?
Well, we have a large population, and we have a large population of professional people. All those professional people need those flights. All those professional people could use a commuter train. So that's what I would have to say to them.
Okay, so how would you attract them? Like, what would you give these flights to actually come here?
Well, they're private companies, so I don't know that I give them, other than the promise that we have a facility that's underutilized.
Okay, very good. So basically, I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Homeless crisis, lack of transportation in and out of Chico, farmers, kind of your main three talking points here.
Yes, that is exactly right.
Okay, and then obviously you have two candidates that you're running up against. You got your incumbent, Debra Lucero, and then you have Peter Dufree. Mm-hmm. Debra we've spoken to her before. She's been very vocal about her progressive views. Mm-hmm. Peter's been very vocal about his conservative views. You're saying that you're nonpartisan in all of this, right?
I'm right down the middle of the road. I am not a person that's political one side or the other. I see a lot of baloney nowadays that either side creates. And, we can wade through that. If we wade through that and don't come up with that as our first talking point, we'll go a long ways.
Understood. And I don't know if you've seen there's a little bit of an online dialogue when it comes to this race, mm-hmm. because you have kind of the extremes of both sides and then you being in the middle. Some people are saying you being kind of in the middle would take away from, either party who does have a big backing. So how do you respond to those people who are concerned you're just taking away votes from other people?
Well, I hope I take away votes. Okay? I am the middle of the road person, and I think most Americans, most people in this county, are people that are in the middle of the road. They agree on issues on both sides. I am a logical, intelligent, well-educated, well-experienced person who should get these votes. If you like the ideas of that person, that other candidate, you should vote for him. If you like the way the county's been going, then you should vote for them. But if you don't, then vote for me.
To wrap this up, you've been giving a lot of call to actions why people should be voting for you. If you could sum that up all into one selling point, right? You should be voting for Carl because?
Should be voting for Carl because if you want to change, that is for progress and for quality of life, and that's the big thing, quality of life, then vote for me.
And how can you realistically promise people that you would do that?
Clearing up the homeless problem, helping with the groundwater problem, and making this city more attractive to people who are regional workers.